So here's what I want to show you. Last week in Singapore, I booked 7 demos and already signed 4 partners. And I didn't use ads or blast 10K emails, just LinkedIn DMs and WhatsApp. And I only do this when I just want to get demos within 24 hours. I'll walk you through exactly how I did it step by step. Now, everyone says the same thing. Run ads, buy intent data, blast cold emails. That's the default playbook to generate leads across this region and probably others. Here's the problem. In Southeast Asia, the play is different. Those plays are crowded, crazy expensive, and takes very long time to know which angle actually works. If you're a founder with a small team, this will burn cash you don't have. And if you're leading sales in a bigger company, you end up with a fat pipeline on paper and flat revenue in real life. So here's what I do instead. First of all, no ads, no blasting out thousands of emails. Just run one motion. LinkedIn DMs to start with, WhatsApp to book the meeting. Or in other words, social selling. Because in Singapore and Malaysia, buyers actually reply there fast, and I can prove it. Last week, as I said, we booked 7 demos and signed 4 partners using only this method. So in this video, I'll show you the 4th step of my 24-hour demo sprint. You'll see the reply rate trick that gets more conversations with fewer sends, 100 profile scan that reveals angles no one else is seeing, how to make prospects treat your demo as urgent, not optional, and last but not least, how to get buyers to trust you before the call even starts. So let's get started. Step 1. Let's say you got 24 hours and the clock is ticking. You need to book demos. So let's run the numbers. If you're gonna go with cold email, the industry reply rate is about 2%. That means out of 1,000 emails, you will get about 20 replies. Now break that down. So this means you're gonna get 5 positive responses. And half of those 5 are going to convert to a meeting. So probably you're looking at 2 to 3 meetings after this mess. So yes, email works, but only if you send 1,000 emails, and that takes data scraping, intent signals, tools, warm domains, and time. And of course, a lot of amazing skills on how on earth can you do it in this amount of time. So it's not exactly a 24-hour execution, is it? Now let's stack LinkedIn against that. Same 1,000 people, but through connection request and one-line DM. Worst reply rates can lend you about 20%. That's 200 replies compared to 20 on email. And if you don't need to send 1,000 messages in one day to get traction, a few dozen targeted DMs can already line up conversations. And then comes WhatsApp. In Singapore, WhatsApp is basically the real business inbox. 8 out of 10 people use it every month, and rates hit almost about 88%. That's insane. So once you get the first reply on LinkedIn, you move to chat on WhatsApp. And that's usually where the meeting gets locked in on the same day. Here's the point. Cold email skills, yes, I'm not against it, but it's slow and heavy, and it takes more than 24 hours if I want to make a demo tomorrow. In a 24-hour sprint, LinkedIn plus WhatsApp is your speed. That's exactly how we pulled 7 demos, 4 sign-up partners in less than 24 hours to get this sorted out. But even on LinkedIn, most people still don't get replies. And that's why they keep yapping, well, LinkedIn is not working, I tried it. Guess what? It's ghost. Well, maybe your DM sucks. And that brings me to my second point. So step 2, I will show you how to actually research first before you even reach out. Because every single person I have dealt with lack real research. Speculation is your worst enemy. So here's how I do it less than 1 hour. Listen to this carefully. So I take my cold list, I scraped it on LinkedIn, making sure all of them are active on LinkedIn. This is the first mistake. So avoid going after ghost accounts. This to avoid wasting time. You can only do that when you have Sales Navigator. Plus, you can use tools to export, which is Phantom Buster or Skill List. I would personally prefer Skill List to export them out of Sales Navigator. And my target persona, let's say I got 1,000 CTOs in the financial services. So I will not obviously start messaging yet, despite might be very excited, but I will not do that. So I will check at least 100 profiles manually. So what exactly am I going to check? So what I'm looking for is their posts, their comments, their likes, and what is gone viral in their circles. That tells me 3 things. trending topics. So what's everyone talking about right now in their circle? Patterns. From those 100 profiles, I pull at least, let's say, 10 posts that connect directly or indirectly to my offer or the benefit I am offering. And 3, perception. How they see the topic from their perspective. Is it positive? Is it skeptical or experimental? Let me give you a real-time example I've done last week for a client of mine at Expand East. So they were selling an AI solution for CDOs in the financial service. So what I did is I scanned 100 active CDO profiles in that industry, and I noticed many are posting about AI for fraud detection and compliance. Some share AI in risk pouring and credit decisioning. The other one was you actually talked about data privacy and governance with AI, and they even had some skepticism about that. That would be my reference point about this ICP, which is the CDO in the financial service, and how they perceive AI in these 3 angles. So apparently that's completely against what my client said, which is basically like they have no clue yet about AI, they are not implementing it yet, and you need to work on the top of the funnel, the awareness level. Apparently that was ridiculous advice. They were not just curious about AI in general. They are specifically focused on risk, compliance, and trust. So my opener message changed from generic, which that was a template that was even given to me. They were literally starting with, we help CTOs use AI to be more efficient, yada, 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 okay? I changed it to be more specific, which is something like this. I see a lot of CDOs in finance already using AI for fraud detection. Have you tested it in your compliance process yet? Question mark. That's my one line to open a discussion with that CTO of this profile. And that was backed by 100 profiles of research that I have checked in less than 1 hour. I didn't use AI to do my research. I'm not lazy. Stop using AI to do everything. You can do it yourself, because this is how you learn about things. You need to hustle. As sales, you need to hustle, you need to research. And it lands because it's about what they already care about right now. You know, my message might be irrelevant 1 month later, 2 months later. That's why it needs to be fresh, it needs to be right now. I did my research right now, and that's exactly why it's so important. You don't just write one message and hope it works. We don't hope in sales. You cannot hope. All you need to do, research, see what's trending right now, and you need to test at least 3 angles against each other, and let the market tell you which one wins. Here's how I do it. I take 3 angles I pulled in, all right? And let's say fraud detection, compliance, and data privacy. And I built 3 short opener messages, 1 for each. Always one line, always about them, always ending with a question. Then I split my list. So if I have 1,000 CDOs, I'll send each angle to 100 people first. So angle number 1 for the first 100, angle number 2 for the second, angle number 3 for the third. So that's my ABC test. I'll use LinkedIn automation tools that track the reply ways, such as Get Sales, HeyReach, etc. And it makes my flow much faster. Now, here's the significance. If an angle gets less than 30% reply rate in the first touch point on LinkedIn or WhatsApp, it's not good enough. As simple as that. Ditch it. That means my research was off and I need to go back, which is research. And if one angle crosses those numbers, that's my winning narrative. I have won. Time to double down. And that's where my demos come into play. Let me give you an example. Say I run these 3 tests on the CDO persona I mentioned earlier. So angle A will be, are you using AI to cut manual compliance checks or still human only? Angle B will be, what's your current alert review time on card fraud? Under an hour or longer. Angle C will be, are you testing on-prem LLMs or keeping AI out of prod for now? So I'm just giving you 3 angles. Of course, the actual writing might be different or might vary, but this is the 3 angles I will be thinking of. Before that, some might say sending 100 requests per day on LinkedIn doesn't make sense, which is true. And that's why you should consider using at least 5 sender profiles, which can be your employees, colleagues, friends, whatever it is, and connected on LinkedIn automation tools, the one I mentioned earlier. And for WhatsApp, you can use at least 4 to 5 WhatsApp numbers in order to make this successful. Now, going back to my point, after you send 100 each for every angle, usually this is how the numbers look like. Angle 1, compliance, you're getting like about 35% reply rates. Angle 2 would be fraud latency. You're getting on your first reply is about 20%. And angle 3, data privacy, is about 12%. So compliance is obviously the clear winner. And that tells me 2 things. Compliance is the hottest pain point right now in their industry, My flow should lead with compliance, and I can save the other angles for nurturing. So your research is not really wasted. Once I know my winning angle, that's it. Double down on what's your first line going to be. Simple, structured, measurable. Because if you're not testing street angles and checking your reply benchmarks, you're not running a flow. You're basically guessing. That's ridiculous. And guessing doesn't book demos within 24 hours or even in your quarterly KPIs. So now you found your winning angle and you build a DM flow that gets you replies. Congrats. But here is the next problem. A reply isn't a demo yet. And you know that very well. So how do you anchor your product features to their pain so the demo feels urgent, not optional? That brings me to step 3. So here's the truth. Every executive, every company had a slightly different pain inside the pain angle you identified. So if you stay broad, you sound like everyone else. And that's why you cannot stop at step 2 research. Once they reply to your broad angle, you need a quick 5-minute zoom in on the company at the role before you anchor your message. If you do not zoom in, you risk being half right, which in sales is the same as being wrong. And when you tie your feature to something they just posted or something their company just announced, you cut through instantly. Every reply triggers 3 quick check. Your number 1 check will be their LinkedIn profile. What's their exact role? What do they own? Their company page, any recent post, product launches, press release, their job description or their activity. What skills or tools did they highlight in their recent post? And bam, you got yourself a much more granular messaging. From that, you can sharpen the pain from broad to specific and then continue the conversation. And there are 2 ways usually to do that. So number 1 will be attaching a screenshot of your whatever use case, internal use case that is matching their environment. You can blur it wherever it's needed if you think it's there's sensitive info. And you can drop a message something like, you mentioned compliance. Here's a quick example from a bank in Singapore. The AI auto-flagged 5% of the accounts at high risk. Compliance team cleared audits 30% faster. Let's jump on a quick call. Can show you the flow in detail and share the bottlenecks we hit rolling it out. This works because, number 1, visual proof. Number 2, immediate relevance. So let's say your angle was about compliance. They say, yeah, that makes sense. Then you started to bam, 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 bam. Proof quicker. You can see the second touch point will be slightly longer, into maybe 2 lines, maximum 3 lines, but still that's your max with a visual proof. That's it. Way 2, let's say you don't have proof, okay? Understand, some companies or startups don't have the same use case and the same environment. At this stage, you can back them up by diagnostic case. So you can say something like this. When you say compliance, is it more about KYC workload, audit trails, or regulator reporting? I can show you how we solved each and where the real bottlenecks came up. Okay, so this way they feel you know the problem in depth and you position yourself as someone who has multiple tested solutions, not one size vendor. This is the difference between talking as a vendor and talking as a partner. Vendors spray generic claims, partners anchor to the pain that prospect just validated backed by proof or clear diagnostic path. And that's how you move from a reply to a positive reply. Congrats, you reached that stage. If you're still watching this video, you're doing great. But even if they say yes, trust is fragile. They are still going to Google you or LinkedIn you. They will check you out. They want to look for more proof. They don't want to take your word for it. So from my point of view, that's very risky because now you're slowly losing the narrative. And no, you need to control the narrative. So how can you do that? That would bring me to step 4. And this is the tricky part. If the proof they see doesn't look like them, they will stall and do not continue. And in business, trust is everything. People would rather delay a week than risk wasting their time on a random call. And if you share generic proof, it will kill the momentum. For example, if you show a fintech CDO case study from a global telecom, it won't work. If you show a startup founder a testimonial from a 5,000 person bank, they will assume you're too big or too expensive. But if your proof looks like them, same industry, same size, same role, voila, they will listen. Always line up proof in 3 dimensions. Industry match, same sector, finance to finance. Size match, same scale, startup to startup. Enterprise to enterprise. Role match, CDO, feedback, CDO, feedback, business development, business development. Look, not everyone has a tailored case study. I understand. You still got options. And there are 4 practical ways to circumvent this issue. The first one I already discussed, which is a case study match. This is ideal. Let's say you're talking to somebody, you can tell them, here's a KL-based fintech CDO who used our AI for compliance. He cut his manual reviews by 30%, 0 audit flags. Here's the workflow. And then you show them a 1-page screenshot or short video. Do not send a PDF. Please do not send any PDFs at all. Okay. The second one, which I didn't highlight, is a quote or a testimonial. So if you have some sort of quote or testimonial from a similar role, let's say you're talking to a CDO, you can say, as CDO, I finally trust our audit trail with AI. He's the head of tech of a fintech startup. So you can use that testimonial in your building momentum in your chats. You can put it on WhatsApp as an image, not just text. Visuals always way better than text. Let's say you don't have that. Then that would take you to the third point. The third point is stats or benchmark. Let's say you lack direct proof, you're new, you don't have that. Then you need to use industry numbers, but make them contextual. So you can say something like Deloitte found 65% of FS leaders use AI first for compliance. We have seen the same pattern here in Singapore or Malaysia. It frames your solution as part of proven trend. The fourth one, I had this occasion many times, which is radical honesty. If you really truly lack proof, say it directly. You haven't run this exact use case for a Singaporean bank before, but here's what we've done for fintechs of similar size, and I'm happy to walk you through it, where it worked and where it struggled. That's it. This is exactly what you need. And if you just say that, you might think it will backfire. You might think like, I'm not really competent in front of them, but you know what? Most vendors are overclaiming. So it's refreshing to be just straight up and say we never done it before, and you will be probably our first time in terms of discussion. So it is what it is, and they can take it or leave it, but being radical is refreshing, and it's always about being refreshing in your chats. So look, this step about the proof is a make or break step. Without proof that looks like them, you will get polite replies and usually a no-show, because people in Southeast Asia or in Singapore are very polite. So that's it. They will just simply, be nice, but they will not show. And with it, you will get fast demos because your buyer already trusts you before they click the calendar link. So at this point, you've got replies, you've zoomed in on their pain, and you've shown proof that looks exactly like them, or at least other approaches that I've mentioned. And that's how you turn LinkedIn and WhatsApp chats into real demos in Singapore, Southeast Asia, or even Asia Pacific. But here's the thing, even the best proof can still die in demo if you don't know how to close it. And I already made a full video breaking down exactly how to run the last 10 minutes of a demo so it actually turns into revenue. Click over the next, because without that step, all those book demos are just calendar clutter.